Yesterday in Brussels, the room went quiet when the question landed. Will Europe send frigates into a live war zone to reopen the Strait of Hormuz? Bet. The answer wasn't hesitation. It was a flat no, unless the United States first spells out the end game and the exit date. President Trump had drawn the line himself the day before. In a Financial Times interview that most outlets buried on page 6, he warned NATO of a very bad future if allies refused to send warships and mines back. He even called out China, the country that pulls 90% of its oil through that exact stretch of water. The demand came after Iran effectively shut the strait in retaliation for the February 28 strikes that killed Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei and crippled Iran's naval and nuclear sites. 20% of global oil and LNG moves through there. Art's been mined and attacked ever since. But the real fracture isn't the oil. It's the calculation that just became public. Germany's chancellor put it plainly. NATO is a defensive alliance, not an interventionist one. This is not our war. Estonia and Poland backed him. France stayed silent. Japan and Australia ruled out ships entirely. Even the UK, through Keir Starmer, drew its own red line. Britain will work on a viable plan to restore navigation, but it will not be drawn into the wider conflict. Asterisk that leaves Washington carrying the load alone for now. Trump wants the strait cleared fast to protect American consumers and keep pressure on Tehran. Iran's new leadership wants the closure to force negotiations on its terms. Europe wants the price of Brent back under control without putting its own frigates in the crosshairs. China, Japan, and South Korea are watching their energy lifeline from afar and choosing caution. By this morning, Brent was pushing toward $120. Every sustained 10% jump adds roughly 0.4 percentage points to global inflation and trims GDP growth. The driver filling up in Manchester or the family budgeting groceries in Ohio feels that first. Fertilizer prices in Asia are already climbing. Asterisk 3 paths sit in front of us right now. 1. A limited non-NATO mine-sweeping coalition forms under the radar and reopens the route in weeks. 2 allies keep refusing and the closure drags, locking in stagflation risks that hit importers hardest. 3 quiet back-channel talks, probably through Oman or Qatar, produce a temporary humanitarian corridor before the price hits. 1-100-30. The alliance that stared down the Soviet Union for 77 years is discovering its limits in a narrow shipping lane that doesn't directly threaten European soil. The question no one in Washington or Brussels has answered yet is simple. What happens when the next tanker is hit and America has to decide whether to clear the strait alone? Answer will tell us whether NATO, as we know it, still exists in 2026. What do you think? Will Europe step up when the economic pain becomes impossible to ignore? Or is this the moment the alliance quietly rewrites its rulebook? Drop your take below. Asterisk.